Hey everybody, movie reviewer next door here, and I'm back with another review. And this time, I saw The Vigilante. I know it's hard to see. This is an action thriller film directed by Lee Whitaker, and it stars Jet Jandreau, Allison J. Horowitz, Anna Alexander, Eric Pierce, Jamie Timmons. No, wait a second. Okay, stars Jet Jandreau, Eric Pierce, Jamie Timmons, and where's the other guy's name? Well, I can't find him. There you go. In this film, returning from Afghanistan. Sorry, my hair is in the way. Just got out of the shower. Returning from Afghanistan, Jessica, a Spec Ops Marine, finds herself in a war she never imagined and discovers middle America's suburbia has changed when her 13-year-old sister, Amy, is abducted by sex traffickers. So, what did I think of The Vigilante? The only reason I watched this movie is because of the director. The director, Lee Whitaker, is a second unit director for films, which means that he usually directs when the main director doesn't do the directing for the action scenes. They have a second unit director. And he's also a stunt coordinator. And most notably recently, well, I mean, he's worked on a ton of big movies. He's worked on Maniac, the remake with Elijah Wood, Percy Jackson, both of the Percy Jackson movies, Jurassic Park 3, Bowfinger, and most notably recently, he worked on Sound of Freedom. And this is a very similar plot. Though this film takes a bit more of an action movie approach to it, and I'll explain that, but that's the reason I saw it. And seeing it, I'm not mad. I'm not happy I saw it. I'm more in the middle. It was okay. It's not doesn't stick out among other lower budget action films. But I can give it some merits, but let me get to the cast first. Jet Gendreau stars as Jessica. She's the Spec Ops Marine. Sister gets kidnapped, sold into sex slavery. Um, this actress, I know nothing about her. She's kind of a newbie, I guess. She's German American. Um, the reason I know her is because she's going to be in Peter 5-8, which is the upcoming comeback of Kevin Spacey with him, Jake Weber, who I love, Rebecca De Mornay, who I like, and I guess this is the poster they're going with. Um, I'm interested in seeing it to see how bad it's gonna be because I fucking hate Kevin Spacey. I'm not giving him any of my money. I am not watching this movie legally for sure. Why don't you come get me, YouTube? I'm not gonna pay for a Predators movie. But that's the only reason I know her. Um, she is okay in the film for the most part. The acting really does start off on a rough foot because the actress playing her daughter is the worst actress in the film. There's a lot of acting in this that feels very half-assed, a bit rushed, and I can understand why people online say that this has terrible acting because I do think the acting is pretty below average for sure. But Jet Gendro, what she lacks in acting, she makes up for in the physicality and the action scenes. And while I do think they could have cast somebody different in this role for sure, a Gina Carano would have worked a lot better because she, while Gina Carano is not a great actress, she has charisma. Watch a film called Scorched Earth with her. Um, uh, the main movies I recommend for Gina Carano because Daughter of the Wolf was okay. Um, Mm, the Haywire's her best, but she doesn't get to use her real voice, and there are some issues with the film. Um, in the Blood. In the Blood is a pretty fun one, and she gives a decent performance in that. And Scorched Earth, she is actually pretty good in Scorched Earth, but mostly because she has charisma and she's not going for a big dramatic performance, she's going for an action movie performance. And it works. She has the swagger, she has the balls to do it and pull it off. You need someone like her. Don't get Ronda Rousey. Fuck Ronda Rousey. Get Gina Carano. But the in the film, Jet Gendro, in the action scenes, she's actually pretty good. Even if I don't 100% believe her in the action scenes due to the way she looks, she kind of does look a bit more like a model. But, anyways, uh, Jamie Timmons plays Amy. This is her first film. I can tell she's the worst actress in the film. I hate to be like, I don't want to come off as an asshole, but her acting really does drag the film down for the most part. I would be able to give this a 7 and call it decent if she was better. And I bought her struggle a bit more. But a lot of the scenes come off a bit comedic with her acting. Um, and in something like this, you really need great acting to sell that. Also, I don't buy her as 13. She's supposed to be 13. The actress is clearly like 20. You didn't need to have her be a 13-year-old, to be honest. You could still have her be a 17 or 18-year-old that's trafficked that would still be depressing. But still. And Eric Pierce is Dan. He's a buddy of Jessica's back from Afghanistan and in the Marines. He's pretty all right. I didn't mind him. It's kind of obvious the whole dynamic they were going for, love interest kind of thing. Um, I more as a hacker than I do like a soldier. But but yeah, this film. Let me get to what I liked about it. Again, the action scenes. There's a few action scenes. This is not an action-packed movie. It didn't try to overshoot its budget for the most part, which I would guess the budget of this was like 3 or 4 million, maybe. Because there are moments in the film where I'm like, oh, this action scene is actually pretty exciting. There's a bit where that there is a lot of CG. There is quite a few CG enhancements. There's a bit where a guy's shooting through a wall and it's very clearly CG bullet holes and um blows from the wall. But for the most part, it kind of felt like they were going for a stylized look, and it worked for me. Didn't really take me out of it. Um, quite a few hand-to-hand sequences between Jet Genjiro and other characters, other child trafficker people or human trafficking people, and those well done. It's not overly shot or edited. The editing is actually pretty good here. Um, there's some decent visual sequences. There's a sequence where, near the beginning, it's the best looking sequence of the film, where it's one of those films that, like, there's an inciting incident at the beginning, and the main character's feeling guilt about it because there is a child that turns out to be a suicide bomber, and she is forced to make the split-second decision to shoot the child in order to stop them from blowing everything up, and they blow it up anyway. And this is something I've seen in a ton of films like this. A film I saw semi recently that did something like this, Sentinel with Olga Kurylenko. I would rather watch this film or that film, even though that film wasn't anything that special. Um, and the action scenes could have been a bit better, but it is something that happens in a lot of films about war. Um, my take on it, I mean, you have to make split-second decisions like that. There's going to be hard decisions, and it sucks that she has to live with this character. But it's a very visually interesting sequence, and there's a bit later where she's like flipping in and out of reality, and she's picturing herself in that moment, and she's screaming because she doesn't know what to do, and it's a well done sequence. And I just wish more of the film let use that motif because it is interesting, and it needs you need I feel like if you do something like that once and it hits and then just never do it again, I think it's kind of a waste. And again, with the acting from most of the traffickers, you need to make them not Hollywood evil or over the top evil. You literally have a character that's like, oh, if she doesn't get her body sold, I'll break her in. And he just says it outright, and it's just like, we get it. He's a trafficker. You don't need to shove this in our face. And Lee Whitaker, as a director who's only directed 2 films that are listed on Letterboxd, as a stunt guy, he's worked on some films with some pretty interesting stunts. I do kind of wish that they did a bit more with that. Because when you get a stunt person doing a movie like Chad Stahelski with the John Wick films, or David Leitch with Violent Night, you expect more stunts, and those movies have quite a few very fun stunts. Here, most of what you get is the fight sequences, which again, the fight sequences are still well filmed. They're kind of filmed in a similar way to Scott Adkins fight scenes, where the camera is doing some long shots, kind of letting you get into the action as if you're a passerby just watching the fight, which I think can very, very much work if your actors are able to perform the action scenes. And again, here, I think Jet Gendro, even if I don't fully buy her as this Marine character and she looks more like a model, she does her best with these action scenes. And also with Jet Gendro. I don't know if this is a positive, but I can tell she's trying. She is trying here to give a good performance. I can tell with how she is acting certain bits and certain mannerisms that she does. I can very much tell that she is trying. It is not a lazy performance. I legitimately think everybody here is doing what the director told them to do. I just think Lee should have left the directing up to someone else and had directed only the fight scenes. That's what I think. Because if you want a more down to earth action film, I think what you should do is get a good drama director to direct the like film bits of like people talking and all that. Get a drama or thriller director and then have the second unit director be somebody who is really good at the action and get a good stunt choreographer and good fight choreographer, all that stuff. It doesn't seem like that happens enough nowadays, but I think that would really help. But um other pros. The way this film portrays the way that these characters are treated in sex trafficking isn't exploitative, I don't think. At no point is there any nudity. At no point is it trying to show as much as possible. Does it in about the same way as Sound of Freedom, which I again have the poster, loved the movie, legitimately loved the movie. I still have my issues with it, and I'll probably do a re-review because I do own the Blu-ray now and address some of those issues, but that's another day. But this film doesn't like it never gets sexually explicit, and I think if you're going to do a human trafficking film, especially when it deals with underage characters, you should never go for, okay, we're going to show the act happening, because then it comes off very creepy on the director's behalf, on the writers. And here, I do think they did it as respectfully as they could. Another thing I can give this film, it did not feel like it took forever to get to the end. It is 100 minutes. It never felt longer. It never felt shorter. It went along well. And yeah, it's this is not again, this is not a film I would ever watch again. But I don't mind that I watched it. Um Again, I'll definitely see what how Peter 58 turns out when it comes out, even though I'm probably not going to enjoy it. But I, I wonder how Jet Jindro will act in it. But yeah, um, if you see this on Tubi, if the plot interests you, go ahead. But I did warn you that I thought it was just fine. But yeah. That was my review of The Vigilante. If you've seen the film, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. If you have any requests, put those in the comments as well. And movie reviewer next door out.